We are back on the Rational Boomer podcast. Hopefully, your day is going well. I'm in Savannah, Georgia, and we have the good fortune to have a guest who's also in Georgia. He lives in Georgia. I'm talking, of course, of Will, and he was anxious to get on tonight. He sent me an email and said, "What's your schedule look like?" I go, "I don't even know what the fuck I'm doing tonight. How about tonight?" And he graciously said, "Okay." But I know there are some things that are bugging you out there, as usual, and things that are bugging a
Yeah.
lot of people. Um, but I'm glad to have you back on the show. It's going to make things easier for me down in this second location. It's always harder for me to do the podcast here, so I'm appreciative of the help.
Oh, no problem, Mike. Yeah, it's been an interesting week. It's been a long weekend where Fourth of July should be relaxing, everyone is celebrated, but it's another shit show.
Yeah,
Compliments of the Trump regime. It just seems that Trump ruins everything. I
he
mean,
does.
he ruins it all. Um, Quick housekeeping note for those of you who wonder where I went on TikTok. Um, TikTok decided to give me the death penalty. I don't know why. That included my original email. So now you could find me at, write this down and don't giggle, KUMQUAT, the number six at TikTok. That is a fruit. It's a fruit.
It's not a
And
nasty word.
it's not a nasty word. Kumquat six at TikTok, but it was done in the spur of the moment. I'm going to ask you guys that right now, they just decimated everything. People are starting to send me messages. Oh, there you are. Oh, there you are.
Yeah,
If I and
yeah,
FYP, like a lot of creators who are anti-Trump, we are getting shadow banned pretty good. So you kind of have to creak through like salmon up a river. If you see this here, if we can get to 1,000, I can go live again. They don't even let me go on lives. So I
yeah.
would appreciate that. And to you, Mike, thanks for sending the work. Because a lot of people came to me from your original
TikTok.
video. So yeah, from the original video you did about it, because it's you've seen it. There's a lot of smaller creators. And everyone they are hardcore trying to get rid of it. And rumor is that there is a U.S. buyer for TikTok, but they're going to break TikTok into a U.S. version and an international version.
Right.
So, like, if I have, and I have a couple people like from Canada, you have followers from other countries, they can't find you because you'll be on the
It,
American side. They're trying to really isolate TikTok
that,
away
now,
from the
what I
rest of the
what,
world.
I've heard that they've got a new app allegedly coming sometime down the road, and it's going to be primarily the U.S. Does that mean that it's not going to be available outside the country, or does that mean everything on this particular app is located in the United States?
Eh,
I don't know that it means we can't get out to other countries, but I don't know that it doesn't either.
If they put up a VPN wall, it's like VPN, as you know, they identify your location, identify where you are. So, like, if you're looking to try to look at something in England, if you're in America, it might not be copyrighted for it, so they can put up a wall unless you do a fake VPN or locator that you're in that
Okay.
country. That's a lot of like you hear about like Nord NordVPN and all that. That's what that does, also for safety. So that's probably what they're thinking of doing. Me, I think is they're just trying to control it to make it their version of X or Twitter. And if
Yeah.
that happens, I'll get a VPN because I like the international people. They're more interesting and they give us a perspective. They're just trying to narrow. They're trying to isolate us because they know the rest of the world knows they're full of shit,
Yeah,
and
absolutely. And
that's what it
I'm
is.
as far as TikTok, I'm almost getting over it now. I feel an obligation because I have a lot of followers and I need to be there for them. But if TikTok or the US government does something to make it impossible, we just keep pushing on. And we've got YouTube, we've got Substack.
Yeah,
It's maybe not quite the same as TikTok, but as I've always said, whether I have a million listeners or 10 listeners, it really doesn't make a difference as long as
yeah,
you have an audience, you have an obligation to give them what they're looking for.
right. And also, I mean, it's part of the way of trying to tap down dissent, and that's what they're working on right now. And you can see it, but the problem with their tramping down on it, that's great in their fantasy reality show world.
Yeah.
Reality just popped up in Texas and bit him in the ass in a red
Yeah.
state. and it's not good because what is it, 60 plus? Because they're still missing people that
Six,
floods.
yeah, we've got the floods in Texas, and it's absolutely horrific. These are unprecedented floods. People who are from there have said we've seen it go 8 to 10 feet, but this is 30 feet, and this is causing some
Ridiculous.
immense damage, and a lot of people have died. 67 people at last report. There are a bunch of people missing, so it's the whole thing is very troubling. And of course, Donald Trump, the Republicans in the federal level and in Texas, of course, trying to explain to us how it's Biden's fault, but it's not. Donald Trump and Elon Musk are the ones that decimated the National Weather Service. They don't have the staff that they once had. And this is going to be a problem not only through this, but through hurricane season
Right.
and tornado season and all this shit. But over and above what the federal government has fucked up, it sounds like the Republicans down in Texas have no fucking clue what they're doing.
Right. I mean, the Texas government, it was the microcosm of what we're seeing in the federal government
Right.
with under Greg Abbott. I mean, kind of mini 2025 project where that county, literally, the head county official, his name is Rob Kelly, said the county doesn't have an early warning system because they said taxpayers wouldn't pay for it. Okay. Now in that area, it's a very rich area. That's Trump country, period. And
Yeah.
that's our central Texas. So so you would think you would want something like that, and it's not going to cost you that much, right? That wouldn't make sense. But state Texas State Representative Chair of the Texas House Freedom Caucus, they got one of them too. His name is Briscoe Kane, right? Um,
Sounds
he
like he
goes,
was
"We
on Dukes
must."
of Hazards.
Yeah, I know. It's just perfect. He says, "We must not allow this great tragedy to be used to grow government." How's that growing government if you're saving lives? Would you have
Well,
saved everyone? No. But it sure as fuck probably wouldn't have been close to 60, 70. It's going to be a lot of bodies they pull out of that river, a lot of
yeah,
young
no
bodies
question.
out of that
Well,
water.
Briscoe has forgot one rule of the U.S. government or any government. Job one for your government is to protect its citizens. Now, I know they think that's talking about war and terrorists and stuff like that, but it's everything. You're supposed to be protecting the people in your constituency. And if that means putting up advance notice for floods or hurricanes or tornadoes, that's what you need to do. And don't
Yeah.
make the excuse that, well, we don't want to make government bigger. Oh, well, you may not make government bigger, but you're going to make your citizenship smaller because they're going to fucking die because of the shit you did.
I mean, they don't even have, that area doesn't even have weather sirens. And if you, those of you who live in the South, we live in Georgia, you in Georgia, yeah, you're Minnesota. If there's
Yeah,
tornado sirens go off, you're running for shelter. They don't
yeah,
even have that in that county. I mean, that's insane. Why? And they asked for an earthwork system. They're not going to get it because they don't want to pay for it. Again, you have to lay this. Go back to history, because that's what I do. Reagan started this small government bullshit, saying that all government's bad. So people have been struggling with that, essential services and all that. But now you have insanity running everything. So they pulled the plug on all that.
yeah,
That includes FAA, NOAA, all of it. I mean, Robert Kennedy is running crazy in the CDC. If that lights off, we're all fucked. I mean, they
yeah,
had to see the guy who's part of the Trump White House who wrote Project 2025. They asked him. John Ossoff was grilling him, senator from Georgia, and he was asking him, "Hey, why do the CDC said it, the importance of the CDC?" And he goes, "Yeah, well, they were wrong about COVID, motherfucker. They were trying. It was an ongoing thing. That's how they think of the world. Anything that's science or makes you think is an enemy to them." Which brings us to, why does the National Weather Service and NOAA, which runs the satellites, become an enemy of these people?
yeah,
Because they deal in raw data. The satellites, the weather balloons bring raw data to analysts who come up with weather models. Now, the weather models, once you keep doing it, are showing a shift in climate.
yeah,
All right. This is all math. This is all just raw data. So this is very 1984 ish. If you cut off the data, you can lie about what's going on. That's why they have a hard on for the National Weather Service because they think it's woke. They fucking think raw data is woke. So that's why they've been gutting it. And it gets even worse is that as of the 30th of June, and here we are on July 7th, because as people are watching this, the Defense Department normally shares microwave satellite information with the Weather Service and NOAA. Now, regular satellites can look down with cameras, and you got infrared, but microwave is basically, as one guy put it, as I was watching his video and almost just absolutely terrified because I live in Georgia now. Literally, it's like an MRI. It can
Yeah.
get through that and see the bands and the temperatures. So when you see those really colors, when they talk about tropical depressions, you can see how they show how big the bands are, how it's forming. That's all microwave satellite information from the DoD. But Pete Hesketh pulled the plug on it. They have asked him why, and the answer is basically because this is a cost of money anyway. The satellites are there. And this is all because these guys are trying to perpetuate lies at the cost of lives.
Right.
And here's the thing, as we had talked about earlier, the hurricane season is coming. There's already a tropical depression in the Atlantic.
Well,
Without this
there's a tropical storm hitting South Carolina, North Carolina, and that area. It's not really affecting us here down in southern Georgia, but it is hitting there. And it's funny, you don't hear much about it. We
no,
used to be able to hear tons of shit about this to get people prepared.
right,
That's not Joe Biden's fault.
no, God, and it's not that he didn't have bad equipment. They're trying the incompetency, but the cover up is the worst. They
Yeah.
all want to cover for Trump. Trump cannot do wrong. Trump is all this. Trump's whatever. He was on the tarmac again. How the fuck he's always on the tarmac? Oh yeah, that's right. He's always golfing. That's right.
Yeah.
He's always out. He's never in the White House doing his job. Um, Asked him about it. Is the National Weather Service at fault in this because of your cuts? He said no. The setup. It was the water setup left out by Biden. What the fuck are you talking about? Water setup?
What does
It's
that
a
even mean?
floodplain. It means nothing, but it's just word salad that all his minions are out there already spreading along. I mean, and oh, to make it better, you saw Marjorie Taylor Greene, right? Did you see that?
I didn't see it. I heard a little bit
Oh yeah.
about it.
And there was another person who, another idiot. This is all Democratic weather manipulation. Okay, she says weather manipulation. She's going to introduce a bill to Congress when they come back, so you can't inject chemicals in the air to cause weather change. No, I'm not kidding. This is not a fucking joke. This is not a Saturday Night Live skit. This is reality right now in the American government. And the other person is saying that this never happened. Fake hurricanes, fake flood, all those people are actors. Okay, tell that to the parents who lost their children,
Oh.
bitch.
Well, I'd like to know if you were going to make it illegal for people to change the weather. I'm curious as to who those people are and what would be the motivation. This is the thing. Everything that happens bad to Donald Trump, which is not surprising because he's a fuck up, they blame it on somebody just trying to make Donald Trump look bad. I mean, it's like when he passed this bill, reporters were going, this is going to fuck things up. And people were saying, this is the best bill ever. You're just trying to make him look bad. It's not hard to make him look bad when he's making himself look fucking bad.
Well, you saw the speech about it, which was on 4th of July, which was another word salad. Start talking, start talking about B 2 bombers because he's patting himself on the back with the bombing in Iran, which went nowhere, did nothing, but exasperated the problem. Now Israel is finding out that he's too incompetent even to help them, so they're talking to Hamas again. And also, you got caught shooting Palestinians trying to get food. You set it up, and your own army turns you out.
Right.
How this man, how Netanyahu doesn't end up in a fucking court for war crimes. I want to know why. This man, and I'm going to say it,
He
and you
will.
don't
He
like it.
will.
Yeah, if you don't like it, he is no better than anyone that stood trial at Nuremberg.
Yeah.
He's guilty of the same motherfucking things. I don't care if he's Jewish or not. It's the same goddamn things. And if you don't like it, tough, because it's the truth. But
Well,
he's so incompetent that it's not even working for him. But he know what he said? He said it was a great thing. We didn't have helicopters crashing in each other like in Iraq when the hostages in Iraq. And it took me a minute to go blink, blink. Oh, he's talking about Carter's attempt to rescue the hostages
yeah.
from the Tehran embassy in Iran.
Yeah.
This is, I mean, this is what we're dealing with. And all the fucking idiots are cheering him. Meanwhile, while that's happening, people are dying in Texas. They had to ask him before, and he kind of like, oh, yeah, I heard that's bad. You think that's bad? You really? Yeah, that's bad. It's bad.
There
Oh,
was a little bit
gosh.
of good news that came out, though, that I don't know how it's going to turn out, but I got my fingers crossed that Iran issued a fatwa against Benjamin Netanyahu and Donald Trump to the tune of $20 million, and they said it must be done. Now, I don't know what that means, but if I've got somebody looking to take me down and it's going to get $20 million, I'd be looking at behind my back all the time, regardless of how much security you have.
Look, the way that man is looking like recently, and I've been looking at watching him, I don't think you have to worry about that. I mean, they're probably going to have to give that 20 million to the hamburger that kills him.
Yeah,
Um, he's not. I mean, I'm not healthy, but fuck, at least I look better than him. That man looks sickly. He really
yeah.
looks sickly. And but he's just and he's insane. And it's like, and the thing about that speech that bugs me too is that he's talking about the bill that Democrats didn't vote for it because they hate Trump. No, dude, the bill sucked, and it was going to cost people money. They hate Trump. Everyone hates Trump, so I hate them. What, how old are you? As my wife
People,
says when I have a fit, how fucking old are you? Are you two?
yeah.
She's right.
Well,
I'm not.
well, people
But at
come to
least I realize it.
yeah, people come to my comments and they'll say, now that we got this big bill, is there any way we can reverse it? No. No, you voted for this motherfucker to elect him. We can't reverse that in spite of all the people talking about, well, there's this election problem here and election problem there. Even if you find the election problems, you're not going to get him
No.
out of there based on that. There's no way to do it with the Constitution. And in terms of this bill, we're stuck with this bill up until sometime when the Democrats can get in power and do whatever they can do to reverse some of this shit. And I don't know how much functionality they have in doing
They,
that. But
I
but
mean,
but
if they
people
get, go
we
ahead. I'm
keep
sorry.
talking about the red line. Where's the red line? Well,
Here's
they
the red
went
line.
past the red line 4 months ago.
Right.
Okay,
What?
so we've got to consider that.
And I'm going to say this because I ran across a video and I wish I had tagged it, but I was so pissed and it was late at night. And it was one of those moments where I need my phone. I need the phone. I can't crack the phone. I need the phone. This lady who's a leftist was going after another leftist who was saying, "Hey, Democrats, what you need to do is run on free Medicare and abolish ICE." I'm going, ain't bad. One of them, you can't do the
Yeah,
free Medicare, but when you try to abolish ICE, and then this lady came back. She's about our age. I can see. She's talking about no, we can't do that. That's how you lose the election. You can't do that. That's crazy. You have to reach out for bipartisanship. And look what John McCain did, and I hate it. And I'm looking at that, and my comment was, lady, those days are gone. There is no bipartisanship. There is no Republican Party. It's just us and MAGA. Democracy, fascism. Grow the fuck up. It's
the
over.
idea the idea that we can go at this reasonably and try to work with the other side. You should have learned that lesson on November 5th. They tried to do
Yes.
it. Kamala tried to do it with Liz Cheney. The Republicans are so far off the fucking cliff, you can't even count on them. The only really thing we can do in order to win elections is is get a bunch of Democrats off their ass, get them motivated enough to vote, and fucking beat them by the numbers. Don't worry about Republicans. You can't get them to
Yeah,
come to your side no matter
no,
who's up for a fucking election.
and they don't deserve our respect. You saw
Yeah,
that. You saw that with this vote on the bill. People who know that this is a disaster still voted for this. I see you, Lisa
yeah,
Murkowski. Okay, but you know how they got? Do you remember that night before they voted for it? They had the parliamentary procedure. They had like 10 or 12 Republicans who were
yeah,
like hemming and hawing. Now, some of them weren't MAGA. Some of them were pretty concerned. Do you know how they switched their votes?
yeah.
Mike Johnson collected them all, and they went to the White House to meet Trump individually. And then he sat him down in the office. He didn't yell at him or anything. I'm going to say this, and then, like I did that night, I did the video on it. I'm going to go brush my teeth 4 times because it's the truth, but it tastes bad. For all the things that we say about Donald Trump, he can fucking charm people 1 to 1. He is fucking good at it. He can make them feel like they're part of something, even though it's insane. And
He can charm certain people, not everybody. I
okay,
guarantee if you
well,
sat down with you and me, he couldn't
okay.
charm us. No
Let
fucking
me
way.
phrase it. Those people within, let's put it this way. His lawyer, um, I just drew a blank on his name. Whatever. The guy went to
Michael
jail for
Cohen?
Michael
Michael
Cohen,
Cohen.
who should know better, but he has said this. Even though he knew better, he was so part of his life and everything he did for him. He got something out of it. So he set these guys down who, remember, when people say, I didn't vote for this, you voted for your legislatures to support Trump.
Yeah.
They ran on their, not on what they're going to do in Congress for you, that I'm going to make sure Donald Trump gets everything he wants. That's what you voted for. So when they show up at the town meetings and you're mad at them, they don't understand it because they're doing what you told them. So when you say you didn't vote for that, you did, for telling him to
Yeah.
do anything Trump wants. But so these guys are devoted. This guy is their God, and they got a chance to spend time in this Oval Office with their God. And he convinced them that don't give the Democrats a win. And you know what he gave them out the door? And the congressmen were showing merch, signed fucking merch, like fucking
Wow.
fanboys. And that's why they switched the votes.
Well,
This is
well,
who's running
here's
our government,
Well,
people.
here's the thing. Part of this too, with these people who said, "No, I'll never vote for it." You have to understand, some of these people don't have a problem voting for it. They do this as a strategy to get something for themselves or get something for their constituents. People will say, "I'm not voting for this in order to sit down with Trump or Mike Johnson so they get something." Good example is Lisa Murkowski. She says, "I'm voting against it." And then they said, how about if we just exempt all of Alaska for Medicaid and you guys get to keep it? She said, cool. Let the other fucking part of the country, the 49 states, burn as long as I'm good. That's exactly what she said. And when she was questioned about it, she was insulted. She should be insulted every day because what she did
Well,
was fucking horrific. And then she says, well, I hope it doesn't pass in the House and we can get this thing worked out. Really? You just voted for the
yeah.
motherfucker as it stood. We have to assume that you like it.
And remember, they took the Senate parliamentarian took that section out
Right.
because it's not a budgetary thing.
Right.
It's an amendment that has to be voted on normally, and she still voted for the bill. She still
And
voted because
she
she, go
she
ahead.
she was hustling around trying to get little teeny things in there so she could sell it to Alaska as they were taking away their Medicaid. It's not going to work for her.
No,
Alaska's fucked without Medicaid.
no,
There's so many people that
and
40% of
and
the
it's
state.
and you have to understand why because what they have there is a lot of cyclical businesses,
Yeah,
fishermen, oil production, all that. So there are times where they don't work, so that they're depending on that. And the one
right.
thing I described Lisa Murkowski, and I've watched the deadliest catch on Discovery for 20 years, literally since it started, the first one, because it was fascinating. I literally knew about Alaska fishermen from an article in Old Reader's Digest
Wow.
where a reporter went and did it, and I read the thing, and he tells his story that he went on there and they got him on the boat, and he was a greenhorn. And if you guys know, greenhorn is the first guy, the new guy on the boat. It was him and another hire, and he was doing bait, and he was just hustling. He got in with the crew, and they don't cut you slack. If you're new, you got to pull it. They're screaming at you and everything. One guy couldn't take it and spent the rest of the voyage in his bunk. He never came out except to eat. The reporter stayed with it, and to the point that one time he said it was so bad his hand froze like this. He couldn't open it, and everyone said, "Oh, dude, that's called crab. That's fisherman's clock." It was like a mark of honor. But at one point, and I remember this article, and I never forgot this, and I read it as a kid. At one point, the reporter was trying to hustle, and he fell on his knees and started to cry because it was so much. And instead of getting yelled at, the boat guy said, "Group hug," and they all wrapped their arms around this guy because they knew what he was going through, but they respected that he did it. A reporter for one trip, and he wrote about this, and this is what led to the impetus of the show. The difference between of Laura Markowski is that she's the greenhorn, the fucking bunk. The
Yeah.
rest of us are trying to survive without the other body. She can't handle the fucking pressure. And that's where we're at. You have a bunch of spineless people who are so afraid of Donald Trump. Why are you? There's always tyrants you're afraid of. But you finally said, fuck it. Fuck it. I don't care anymore because I can't stand it. Ed, during um, the Red Scare, Joseph McCarthy and Edward Murrow. Murrow was
Right.
warned what his and it wasn't long. It was 30 minutes of just showing Joe McCarthy's words and just basically doing a profile on him to show him how insane he was.
Right.
He got a lot of pressure not only from his CBS, but at the time had balls, not like they do now, but also from advertisers, the Defense Department. Everyone was afraid, and he was afraid for his life. But he said, "Fuck it," because it was worth it. We don't have those people anymore protecting us.
No.
They're looking out for number one. And even though they're in position of power to look out the rest of us, if the boat is sinking, they're on the lifeboats. Goodbye. That's the way it is. And that's the
Here's what I
biggest
do,
problem we have right now.
here's what I don't understand about this whole thing. This bill is bad. It's the worst bill in the history of this country. It's going to take money from the middle class and the poorer class and give it to the rich. It's pretty clear. It's not, you don't have to be a brain surgeon to figure this out. These people who voted for it know this. They also know that by voting for it and hurting their own constituents, they're probably not going to get elected in. Are they so afraid of Donald Trump or so sucked into Donald Trump's cult that they voted anyway for it? Or do they honestly believe that at some point they can gaslight enough people and get them to believe you're hurting now, but it's really good? I don't know what it is. I mean,
Well,
if I was an elected official, I would never have signed on to that because I know it's just like political suicide.
well, I mean, in that speech with Trump, he basically said what their strategy is going to be in midterms because he said that was that just tell everyone the Democrats didn't vote for it and you'll be okay. They didn't vote for no tax on Social Security, which is not on the bill, by the
Right,
way. But the reason that the bill didn't move so fast, there's the one item that everyone keeps missing. There's $175 billion designated for ICE and Department of
right,
Homeland Security.
right.
Excuse me. That makes ICE the 16th largest domestic army in the world.
And the first largest law enforcement agency in the country.
Country. $175 billion because ICE had run out of money. Now it's all about ethnic cleansing. Because they one thing Trump knows and Stephen Miller knows and all that, The one thing that keeps the base going is hate of everybody else.
Yeah.
Hate of everyone. And you could see it right now with the way people are. There's a video of a lady, Hispanic lady, just getting gas. She's getting gas, and this older white woman's pumping gas. She's going by to get it, and the lady goes, she goes, "Thank God for ICE." She goes, "What the fuck are you talking about?" And the lady goes, "Well, you got to go back to Mexico." She goes, "I'm an American citizen." "No, you're not." She's open. She's open. The videos I see now of these people, and we're talking about, I get banned for telling the truth, but there's
Yeah.
a guy clapping, put with an empty soccer field, goes, "I'm glad I don't have to watch immigrants play soccer now. Thank you, ICE." There's a guy, put up a thing, he goes, I will starve to death as long as I don't have to hear Spanish spoken in America. This is what we're dealing with, okay? And they gave these people $175 billion, and they're building concentration camps. There is no mandate, and they keep selling the same thing, that are getting rid of criminals. No, you're not. See, the good thing about this time around, you don't have to stitch stars on people on their
Right.
clothing. Just have to look at the color of their skin, so you can start picking people up. And for those black creators who are saying it's not our fight, they're coming for you, because I saw what happened in the Haitian. Here's the thing: the Haitians aren't going to go without a fight. I saw that in New York. They've been trying to suppress those videos on the mainstream media and TikTok. ICE rolled into little Haiti in New
Haiti.
York, and got pummeled. They were not playing. Those guys were pulling weapons, and the Haitians are going, "You think I have not seen someone pull a weapon on me?" These people came from revolution.
Yeah.
They don't. They are. It's going to be. It's getting to the point. It's going to get ugly. And you gave these people $175 billion. Now the good thing about it, they're fucking incompetent.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
yeah, and they're not going to spend time to train people. But the problem is, you still have these, basically, these kidnaps going on, and now ICE has coordinated with hundreds of local law enforcement to help them with deportations.
You know, we were talking
That's
about red
just,
lines. We were talking about red
yeah,
lines before, and everybody's saying, "Well, when they cross the red line, it's going to get ugly." And as I said, they crossed the red line 4 months ago.
yeah.
Um, I don't see how we go forward without there being some violence. I mean, some serious violence. People are feeling cornered. People are feeling like they have no way out. People are feeling in danger. Their kids aren't eating. They're not getting the health care. There's going to come a point when people start pushing back, and there's a lot of fucking people to push back. You can have 170 million with ICE and all this stuff, but we've got 250 million people that are going to want to fucking kill somebody.
And we're still the majority. That's the thing. It's a very vocal and minority. Unfortunately, they have the hands of power at this
Hmm.
point. But it's they're going to push, and it's going to get ugly. And I think that's good, because, like, also, Democratic states and governors are going to have to make a decision. What are
Yeah.
you going to do? Are you going to allow ICE in? Are you going to keep giving money to the federal government? There's already discussion about that. I
There's
mean,
five,
if you
five or six states talking about, well, if they're going to cut us off from funding, we're not going to send them the federal money. And
and that's
that should be right in line with what they want. They want states to take care of themselves. So if states are taking care of themselves, why do they have to send the feds money? Then what the fuck are they going to do?
and this is the the irony of the Civil War, the original or Civil War, is that it was about states' rights.
Right,
And it was always about states' rights, to the point at the end of the war, the Confederate federal government, which basically was not really anything other than to run the army, they
right,
were running out of things, and they turned to, I believe it was South Carolina, or not South Carolina, was South Carolina, because they needed some supplies or something, and they said, "No, we don't have to do that because you don't have power over us, because of states' rights,"
right.
even though they were in dire situation. That's the thing. They use that as a get out of jail free card, but not when it comes to like cultural things like abortion or gay rights or the ability just to exist as someone of color in this country. That's when they step on states' rights, and that's the thing. The due process is starting to get people are getting pissed because every time you see these people get picked up, everyone said, "Where's your warrant?" They say they don't need one. You need a warrant.
Yeah.
This is just a decision, and the courts aren't doing anything about it. The courts aren't stopping these things. They just sit there and don't let them do it. Let them do it,
It's
and
going to
that's
be
the thing.
interesting. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with the Supreme Court because there's a lot of dissension amongst the people on the Supreme Court. We know Ketanji Brown is speaking out, and she should. We've got corrupt people on the Supreme Court, people that are voting for ridiculous things, sending back people back to Sudan. That's cool. Um, there's got to come a breaking point with the Supreme Court because it's really not a real legitimate court anymore.
No,
I think there was a time when we were screaming and yelling about the Supreme Court, and I think we need to ramp that up because they are sensitive to people thinking they're not legit or credible. We've got to keep screaming that and make sure that the Supreme Court is under pressure. But we've seen a lot of protest, and the protests have been great, and they've done some good. But the protest isn't going to be enough to get this done.
no, we're getting to that
That's why
point.
That's why I'm saying it seems inevitable. Violence, I don't know how that takes shape. I certainly don't want it. But when you've got people that vote for things they know are going to hurt people, um, well, what can you do? Take them to court? Fucking take them to court. It takes forever to get things done. We need to fix things yesterday. And so we've got to
Right.
figure out how to do that. Keep talking, keep screaming, put the pressure on. That's cool. We got to do that. But there's got to be something more we can do in order to fix this situation because it's just going to get worse as he goes along.
Yeah, and then this thing in Texas is going to set off some other stuff because they need to start covering and get a distraction set up. Look for upticks in ICE in big cities. In Chicago, they're still going to hardcore in Los Angeles. That's going to be ongoing for a while until I don't know until Governor Newsom decides, fuck this. California's not going to be a sovereign state. Get the fuck out, country. I mean, you're getting to that point. Chicago is still kind of sitting there, and then you got the red states. You know, this whole thing. We have to address this. When did the idea of getting shirts and merch for an internment camp, i.e., concentration camp, become a thing?
Yeah.
I mean, they're selling t-shirts Alligator Alcatraz. Oh, okay. Why don't you just sell t-shirts that say Auschwitz, Dachau? It's the same motherfucking thing. It is the same thing. Don't sell. I mean, it's the same thing. And then also, did you see Trump's solution for farmers? Oh, that was
No.
good. Oh, his
Yeah. Tell
solution is
us. Tell
simple.
us.
Yeah, it's simple. It's just like we'll just let the farmers take control of them. They can just live on the farm and the farmers take care of them so they can pick the crops. I heard that before. It's called fucking slavery.
Well, and the other thing too
I
is
mean,
that's well and good, but you fucking bankrupted the farmers too. So what are you going to
yeah.
have them do if no one's buying their shit?
It's it's all dealt with the vision of one man, and that's Stephen Miller.
Yeah.
Stephen Miller and Ton Holman and all the Project 2025 people are dead set in making America white Christian fascist because they believe everyone of color doesn't belong in this country. This is a European country. Last time I checked, this country was not. It was there was a lot of people of color before you showed up. And Mexico would have some questions about who owned California originally and Texas, if we want to get there. And they just have this world that doesn't exist, but they're going to try to get there. They don't care at any cost.
Yeah.
They're going to do it. And the point is, they're going to turn to the military too to do this. But don't we have like, I mean, we have enemies, do we? I think we still do. Or is the whole world against us? I mean,
I would think the whole world.
it's
They
we
should
are.
be.
I mean, every day you wake up and go, I wish. Sometimes I wish I was like these other people and didn't give a fuck. Because the thing about what's driving all this is those of us who have empathy, who care about our fellow human being, who see what's going on, who feel for everyone, who wants our country to be, it's not perfect, but at least we can build on something, want that, have to listen to those who don't want it because they think it's a game and they're winning. They're winning this game. And it's like a reality show. And it'll bring us to the next thing I think you wanted to bring up too. Hi, tariffs. Now we're August 1st.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
That's the interesting thing about the tariffs is that Donald, excuse me, Donald Trump was asked about the tariffs. Now, when this started, Donald Trump said, here are the tariffs, but I'm going to put them on pause for 90 days. That 90 days comes due on July 9th. That's 2 days from now.
2 days now.
Okay. And Donald Trump, remember, he told us, oh, yeah, when I put those tariffs on pause, I got people knocking down the door, trying to cut deals, making phone calls, ringing the phone off the hook. Yet they have not cut any deals 88 days into it.
Yep.
They have not cut any deals. They say they have, but they're not real complete deals. In order to complete a trade deal, it takes weeks and months to do that. And then times that by fucking 200. Jesus Christ. So now they have to answer to this. This is what Donald Trump does. He always puts everything off on the distance as if he thinks he can figure a way to get out of it. Now he's saying, well, what I'm just going to do is send letters. I'm going to send letters and say, this is what it is. You either take it or leave it. Scott Bessent came back on an interview, the Treasury Secretary, and
Yeah.
he gave away the low the information that he shouldn't have given away. He said, "Well, a lot of people didn't come to the table." Wait a minute, Scott. I thought you told me everybody came to the table, but nobody came to the table. So Donald Trump has to do something, and he needs to make it look good so he doesn't lose face. So we don't realize he's an idiot. So I'm going to send these letters. Now, if they don't respond to these letters, then the tariffs go into effect on August 1st. I thought July 9th was the deadline, but he's given them to
Mhm.
August 1st in hopes that they will do something. I will tell you this, if these people didn't come to the table and weren't afraid in the 90 days, they aren't going to do it by August 1st. They're trying to make a point. They're trying to make Donald Trump look stupid, and they're succeeding in it. And if those tariffs take place on August 1st, they're talking about universal 70% tariffs around the world. We are fucked economically. We are
But
embarrassed as a nation, and Donald Trump is a fucking idiot.
we do know what someone squealed out of the White House
Yeah,
that Trump never took the tariffs as a economic thing. This was a ratings thing.
yeah,
He did the entire presidency and running the government is a fucking reality show to him. And how
absolutely.
many ratings are we going to get? How am I going to look on TV? How many people are going to talk about it? When I turn on my multi sets and see even the programs, the channels I hate, like CNN, MSNBC, are they talking about me? Are they talking about my tariffs? I know Fox is because they have to. I mean, it's how the ratings going. He never took this shit seriously. This was all scripted. It's a bad plot that we're all part of, but it's a reality for us. Those tariffs are going to keep getting kicked down the line. It's all a disaster. And if you send those letters out, we're going to find out how many versions and how many languages the word nuts can be written in.
Yeah.
And if you know, you know what I'm talking about because it's again more performative. And these guys that he's around aren't government people, they're sycophants. Scott Bessent, He's the secretary. I don't know. I confuse him with the commerce um
Secretary of Treasury, yeah.
and the other guy, the secretary of commerce. They all look alike. I
Lutnick.
mean, yeah, they all look alike. They're all the same. They're old white guys with money, and
They're
they're
old,
all
old closeted white guys.
yeah. God, did you see that whole thing with the daddy thing
Yeah.
with Trump? And that was an insult. But I don't know what legislature was that guy come up and said that we should call Dad Trump Daddy. And that one gay legislator came up and said, "Yeah, you know what happens when we call someone Daddy in my where around my circle," and everyone laughed. It was
Well,
ridiculous, but they live like that. It's
well,
sick.
well, you know what? You know what's weird, and I don't know what this was about, but there was something on one of the news channels. They were showing after the vote was taken. A couple of things that happened. One representative was walking down the aisle and grabbed a whole handful of some guy's ass, which seems, it's one thing if you pat him on the ass or you pat him on the shoulder. This guy went deep. He went fucking deep and he grabbed his ass. And then beyond that, what do? They go up to the main area and they're clapping and cheering, and then they play YMCA. Uh, and they're dancing to YMCA. These For these people to hate LGBTQ people so much, they certainly acclimate themselves to the gay community.
It's, I mean, yeah, I saw that, and some gay creators are they're just like laughing because it's sad. It's these guys. I don't know what it is with these guys. I mean, people elect these people who are just idiots,
Yeah,
have no concept of government, who just talk loud enough. I mean, two of the biggest idiots, Marjorie Taylor Greene, no experience, but just was loud. Lauren Boebert is basically, and I'm going to say it because I can say it here on YouTube. She's a
yeah,
fucking tramp.
yeah,
I'm
she is.
sorry. I may insult some women, yeah, but you know what? Even my wife or your wife would say that's a tramp. She's a
Now
tramp.
listen, Will. You give one guy a hand job in a crowded theater, and all of a sudden everybody thinks you're a tramp. Come on.
I could go with something else I saw today, but not because I'm not going to push the YouTube limits today. But yeah, I mean that's the point. But they keep voting for these people because Republican. That going back to what you said, do they think that come to November, everyone's going to get short term memory? Why not? It's worked before.
Yeah, yeah, it's worked before.
And the thing about it, considering the Democratic Party, it usually is a good way of cutting their own throats.
You know
We don't
what's
know.
interesting? I've been hearing this over and over again, and it makes me laugh and it makes me sad at the same time. There are those people that are Republicans now that have voted for Donald Trump and now fucked around and found out, and they realize they're getting fucked in the process. So they're upset. And when they are asked, why did you vote for him in the first place? Almost universally, they'll say, well, I wanted to own the libtards. That was the whole reason Donald Trump won, because these people wanted to piss off and own the libtards. Well, you did it now. You fucking did it, and now you're going to pay the price. I hope it was enjoyable for you, because now you're going to have to pay the cost that you never thought you were going to have to pay just because you wanted to own a libtard.
But I mean, that's the celebration right now. Is that they're like, oh, all these liberals are upset. The thing about it is that it's not liberal or conservative anymore. You guys are conservatives.
No,
You aren't. You're basically just hateful little people who need your life, your meaningless life, um, confirmed every day. That's why you hate everybody else. That's why you enjoy ICE raids because it makes other people suffer because you're suffering.
I would ask conservatives or Republicans this question. When Donald Trump was in office the first time around, he added $7 trillion to the debt. This time around, with this bill alone, and this won't be the end of it, he's going to add $3 to $5 trillion to the debt. Explain to me how that ties into any conservative ideology. It's totally
It
the
doesn't.
opposite. You know,
He doesn't.
remember when people say, well, Lincoln was a Republican and they have to explain to them there was a switch in the parties from positions and stuff. There's a switch going on in the Republican Party. They've gone from fucking idiots and just mean people to flat out fascist. There is a switch that happened in the Republican Party, and we've got to acknowledge that. They aren't Republicans. They aren't conservatives. You might call them Trumplefucks, but at the base, they are fascist because everything they
Yep.
do rings of fascism.
Yeah, and it's all devotion to one person.
Yeah,
That as simple as that, and one ideal, and that's why you're seeing every day the outrageous stuff that happens on the streets because there are a good majority of Americans that say that's good. I mean, because you keep the same arguments. If you're here
yeah,
illegally, you should be gone. But that's not the point. A good majority of the people they're picking up are not illegal. And now the next level is we're going to find people who have gone through the system, naturalized citizens, see if they committed any kind of crimes and take away their citizenship.
yeah,
And considering that they consider anything a crime, if someone's gotten a ticket, they could be fucked if they haven't been born in the United States. And but they went through the process. You keep talking about well, they went through the process. One, people are going through the process, and you're not letting them because you're arresting them at the time they're going through the process.
right.
And B, so people who went through the process aren't enough for you. It's never enough for these folk
No,
because they think they can basically do purity. This is ethnic cleansing, whether you like it or not. And the thing about it is to watch people cheer for creation of a concentration camp, or as one person put it, I was watching a video, if you are okay with of human beings being eaten by alligators because you don't like them, you are the villain. You have lost your humanity because they're all unfeeling. There's so how do you? I'm watching these guys, these people with no faces,
right,
arrest children, arrest women, abuse people who are not a threat to them to feed their own little silly egos. They're
right.
not trained officers. You could see it in their eyes.
No, they're
They're,
not.
they're just a bunch of they're thugs. They have
Well,
hired literally the secret police. And until someone starts removing the secret police in very, very unpleasant ways, they're going to keep doing what they're doing until someone really pushes back. At that point, what's their reaction? Everyone says, well, then Trump's going to declare martial law. He's going to send the military in. And what?
the fuck do we have to lose now?
I mean, at that point, I mean, local police were going to enforce it too. I don't know. I mean, they're pushing and they're hoping that people are still are afraid not to go to the next step. Because I'm curious if people go to the next step and say, fuck this, I got nothing to lose, what's their reaction? Because most of the time in history, that usually spells the end of a regime
Yeah,
when you force people to go to that next step. No one's going there yet. But what I saw in New York is hints of it.
yeah.
And from what I'm hearing, Cubans aren't happy in Miami and they may not go voluntarily.
I'm
This
I'm
is
wondering
good. Yeah.
I'm wondering if we're going to see some, because it would be a soft target, so to speak. I wonder if we won't see some people go after Mar-a-Lago, whether he's there or not. Go after Mar-a-Lago, burn the fucker down or whatever. I wouldn't be surprised if I saw something like that.
I mean, if it gets to that point, I'm, I don't know how far it's going to push people. Because right now we're watching this flailing around. He is flailing around. A lot of this
Yeah,
is reaction to everything. The Texas thing, because you don't have a plan, you just have a performance.
right.
When something goes wrong, you don't know what to do. Like, who the fuck? Why is Christy Nome going down to Texas? That should have been the Department of Interior secretary, or that wasn't Homeland Security. That's not Homeland Security. That's
No, it's not.
Interior. Why is Homeland Security there?
Well, I think
Why
she
did he send
probably
her?
had the perfect out, she had the perfect outfit and she wanted to use it. So she went down to Texas. I just got a text from Old Soul, and I find this interesting. She says, "Hey Boomer, I'm sharing this video of immigrants and firefighters from Mexico going to Texas to help with the floods, risking being deported, kidnapped by ICE just to help. MAGA isn't talking about these immigrants."
Nope.
Fuck,
I saw that video too.
fuck, fuck.
Yeah,
Why would you even do that? Why would you even
because
do that?
you're human and there are people that are at risk and we can help.
Yeah.
That's what the world used to be until it got tainted and allowed small men and small people to not care. I
Yeah.
mean, we don't know. We can't get in their mind because we're not there. We don't. I mean, we're because we're not there. We're not there in our heads how these people function because we don't understand.
Well, here's the thing, and this is what I've said about the ICE too. Um, if you're a normal human being and you see people suffering, kids suffering and crying and people being killed, the natural reaction is to help out, regardless of whatever's somebody's political affiliation is. And that's what I find so funny about ICE. These guys work for the Trumplafucks. They are secret police. They're pulling kids away from their parents. These little kids are screaming and crying and upset. How does that not impact you? But it clearly doesn't with these people. They seem to take
because
joy in this shit. They're
they
fucking
don't think
evil
they're human.
motherfuckers.
They don't think they're
Yeah.
human. They're not
Well,
human to
yeah.
them. They're just
And in fact,
bodies.
they're the ones that aren't human.
Right. They're just bodies. They get collected. I mean, they get paid. I mean, that's all they care about. It's like, and they'll hide it. Well, we're just following the law. No, heard that one before. How did that work out for a lot of people? I mean,
Yeah.
that's the thing. There is going to be a reckoning. I mean, like Laura Loomer talking about her bullshit. There's going to be a reckoning for you, sweetie. It's coming. And
Yeah.
as one person said, I'm going, why the fuck? Because she has no influence anymore. So she has to be outrageous.
Right.
This is her way to get clicks. And saying that, feeding 65 million Hispanics to alligators is going to piss people off. But you got to understand, she lost she lost her seat. She got pushed out. So
Because
she's trying
she's
to
a
find
fucking
significance
nutbag.
again. Um, and so right now where we're at is it's now the good thing again, we have to look at it. They are incompetent. They don't know what they're doing. You're watching the flailing around. They're going to hit the ground and FEMA, there's something's going to, they have to answer for all those deaths to an extent. You cannot
Absolutely.
not, you cannot not blame them totally because the weather is the weather. Now they will try to blame Biden's and the Democrats for the weather and the deaths because that's what they do. But I can't blame from everyone everything. But it's the same thing as someone who sent me a message about it. It's like COVID. Yeah, you couldn't have stopped it, but you could have prevented a lot of deaths. But your incompetency didn't do that. You turned it into a
Well,
political animal.
Well,
And if I hear,
the
go ahead.
professionals said that Donald Trump could have stopped maybe 750,000 people from dying,
Yeah,
three-quarters of it, and he didn't. I don't care what anybody says about they were wrong about it. The fact that Donald Trump, as president of the United States, did nothing about COVID, told us it was a hoax, told us it would go away.
I,
He is fully responsible for the devastation COVID created in this country. Not only the deaths, but the shutdowns that they tried to blame Democratic governors over. They didn't have a fucking choice because Donald Trump didn't do his fucking job.
I, and important, and it's because since everything's a show to him, COVID ruined his show.
Yeah,
COVID ruined his show. COVID ruined, the ratings. It made him look dumb. So everything they did to prevent it, he just wanted to go away. Why isn't it going away? Well, you have to do A, B, and C. Well, people don't like it. Yeah, but if you do this, it'll save lives. I don't care. People don't like it. I'm not getting ratings. Which
right,
brings us to this point. It's always about ratings. I want to bomb Iran. Why? Because it looked good on Fox. Um,
right.
we're gonna
Well,
we're gonna send.
I'll tell you why he bombed Iran. He was trying to show off to the people at G7 that made fun of him. But more importantly than that, Donald Trump was watching the Israeli Iran war fighting, the fighting going on there. And he's seeing that Israel was doing better against Iran, which would be naturally expected. And he's thinking, "Oh, I got to get me a piece of that. I got to get in on that because I want to be perceived as the guy that ends it." So that's why he sends the bombers in, and he thinks the war's going to end. Surprise, motherfucker! It didn't end. You
No,
didn't do shit, and you wasted a lot of money, and you wasted a lot of political capital, and you wasted our reputation internationally. So good job, Donnie. You fucked up again.
and he still considers that as a victory. That's why he had the B-2 bomber fly over and like, one military person said they were late on purpose. Flyovers are never late unless there's something that comes up.
No.
And but the point is like, he lives in this fantasy world. They don't tell him shit. I'll guarantee you, the White House knew what was going on in Florida or his people around him, but didn't want to interrupt Trump while he's doing his thing because it would have been bad because they didn't want to upset him. And later on, they told him that's why he looks so absolutely out of it. Well, normally out, but not informed of what's going on in Texas. And so, in what's going on in Texas, again, it's a microcosm. It's a preliminary of what we may see here in the East and in the South with hurricane season,
Yeah.
or in Louisiana with hurricane season in the Gulf, because Mother Nature doesn't give a fuck about your
No.
schedules or about your ratings. It's going to do what it's going to do. And you may try to hide the data, but this planet has gotten warmer. Oh, yeah, by the way, you wanted that it's now about coal and oil. What century are you in? Coal's not even efficient anymore. You can look that up. It's stupid, ignorant bullshit.
Yeah.
All right. And it doesn't work, but we're stuck in this some kind of weird backwards train that we're doing our best to, but you people voted for that. And the reason you voted for it is that, well, one, because you guys believe in him, the majority of that, but a lot of you just didn't want to vote for a black woman, and here we are. How's that working for you? I know
Yeah.
you're still justifying it by saying it's all the Democrats' fault. I couldn't vote for a Democrat because they're Democrats. Yeah, how's that working? I mean, I know the Democrat Party is not the perfect, but fuck, it wouldn't be this.
You know,
It
I
wouldn't be
think
this.
I think one of the things that may be the ultimate downfall um, with the Republican Party, with the Donald Trump cabinet specifically, might be internal dissension. We're seeing some of that with stuff leaking out. You know, you were talking about how it was leaked out that Donald Trump is just doing the tariffs for show and it wasn't a real thing. They'll say, that's not right. We got to find the leaker. Well, the leaker came out of the fucking White House, and I think we're going to
Yeah,
see more about that.
he,
But
they're in
here's
the
a news
house.
yeah, here's a news story that just came out that's going to get the shit flying. Now, listen to this. It's on Ross Story. Donald Trump's administration has concluded that infamous pedophile Jeffrey Epstein did not, in fact, have a client list after Trump himself was accused of being on it. They're saying, oh, yeah, there was no list. You know who's pissed about it? Fucking MAGA. They wanted to see that list, and now they're telling them that the list isn't there. You
Doesn't
know, MAGA is
exist.
saying, "Well, maybe Donnie was on it." That's showing some guilt. And what about Elon Musk? He's pissed off at Donald Trump. He's starting his own party. If there's anybody with a
Yeah,
list, bet that motherfucker comes out.
and it's FBI and came to yeah. Cash Patel killed it.
Yeah,
Cash got
yeah,
a phone call, and they handle that. And the FBI doesn't. The FBI doesn't even do crime anymore. They're part of the Homeland Security thing. They're tracking down immigrants. That's their job now.
right.
Fuck crime, or anything that's going on. We got to be part of the ethnic cleansing and human trafficking that they're doing now. And it's just going to. It's just you sit there and listen to that and go. And as for Elon Musk making a party, I'm like, whatever. I mean, you need help. Then someone said, I read this, maybe it's not true, that Mark Cuban might help him. And I'm going, fuck. I don't know if Cuban, I know he hates Trump, but if Cuban gets on board with Musk, he's smart. And
Yeah,
I know
he's
what
very
his job
smart.
would be.
He's very
Yeah, I
nice.
know what his job would be to third party it because it'd still be third party right. I don't see Democrats voting for any of their
Well,
candidates.
well, that's
I
why I'm
mean, it's
cheering it
insane.
on. That's why I'm cheering it on. Some people are frightened about Elon Musk starting a party. He's got the money, and if Mark Cuban's in on it, they got the money. They can do
Right.
some damage. Now, what they're talking about doing is not all elections, just picking and choosing elections. But I'm for it, and here's why. Because if they put together another party and they put people up, it's the same as primarying Republicans, because nobody's going to vote from the Democratic side for these people. The Republicans are going to vote for them, and that's going to further split the Republican Party, which is going to make the party weaker, and it's going to, what I think Elon's thinking is, well, if we can get some reasonable Republicans, or at least people perceived to be reasonable, we can beat these guys out and start getting control. But Elon is a lot like Donald Trump. He fucks up a lot too.
Yes.
And I'd be surprised if Cuban got on board if Elon was in control, because I don't think he's a
I, I,
fan of
I
Elon
think
right
that
now either.
that sounds like a rumor more than anything because Mark Cuban's a lot of things, but I don't think he's going to be subservient to something like that. And also, Musk is just doing that to fuck with Trump. This is all, the ladies fighting and also another distraction from what's going on and everything. Because right now, it's a mess. There's no competency. I mean, we don't know what's the thing about it. We don't know what's next. All right.
No,
Economically, there's no growth. There's no plan. I mean, someone, Laura Trump has some kind of show, I guess, on one of these fucking networks. Asked the chairman of Ford why he's fucking on the show. I don't know. Well, what do you need to make more jobs? His answer: get rid of the tariffs. She didn't like that answer.
no,
I mean, and the thing about it is, there's a depression. There's a lessening of of sales in cars. There's people aren't buying as much. It's stagflation in addition to inflation, which is worse. That no one's doing anything or investing in anything. There's no plan. How can there be a plan when there's no plan of an economic plan overall?
yeah,
I mean, other than take apart what Biden did, which was a plan to move stuff forward. I mean, that's the thing. There was a plan to move forward. We could do this, and this, and then would lead to this and this. And we rebuilding infrastructure, which means we can bring back industry. We can invest industry into microchips, which is we can take it away from China and build it here in the United States. We can do all this. And then Trump comes in and he says, no, I don't like it. Like a little kid crushes your toy, steps on your Legos, breaks everything you worked on for years.
I think people have to understand, regardless of whether or not the Democrats win the House and the Senate, there is nothing going to be done of any
Oh,
positive
no,
sense until 2028. It's just not
no.
going to happen, because even if
Well,
we
I
get the
mean,
House and the Senate, Trump's not going to sign any Democratic
oh, no,
bill.
he's not going to
So
sign
it's going to
anything
be it's going to be stagnant for the next 3 years.
unless you can overturn vetoes, which is a possibility. But also, it's just also to irritate the fuck out of them. Because
Yeah,
once you get a hold of judiciary committees and everything, you're just going to be going after everyone. I mean, you can vote to abolish ICE. If you get another votes to overturn a veto, you can do that. ICE should never existed. That was a George Bush creation.
right,
ICE was a joke. Was supposed to be should have been was supposed to be feathered out, but they just jumped on it as a thing to put as an enforcement arm, an extra enforcement arm. Why? You had borders and customs. You didn't
right.
need ICE. And it's just become this monster that, yes, it needs to be abolished. It's a waste of money. And because you could do it with border and customs like you did before. The only reason it came up was from the paranoia of 9/11, which didn't help. So here
You,
we
you,
are.
you know who should be grateful to Donald Trump is George W. Bush, because up until Donald Trump, George W. Bush was the dumbest and the worst president ever. He fucked around. He put us in a bad situation. Obama had to dig us out of it. Uh, But let's not forget how bad George W. Bush was. He was fucking a mess. He was
But you know
horrible.
what?
And he started this shit show.
He did, but I will tell you, he still had some ethics. He wasn't. I mean, he
For a
was. I mean,
Republican,
for a
for a
Republican, okay,
Republican, I mean,
Republican, but at least
he
there was.
still made up WMDs to go
Yeah,
bomb
I
a fucking
understand.
country.
I'm not going to take away from all that. I get it. This led to a lot of stuff that we're dealing with now. But the thing about it is, you wouldn't put up with what you see right now in the government with the corruption, with the misogyny, the racism. He wouldn't even put up with this shit.
No.
He wouldn't put up with this shit. It would not work. Even Nixon, to an extent, wouldn't put up with that shit. And Nixon had issues. Um, the point is that the humanity that was part of politics and people does not exist anymore. It's a feature
Right.
of MAGA. You check your humanity at the door. Here's your walking papers. This is who you hate. This is who you always hate because they hate you. Go. That's how they
Right.
feel. That's why even now when they're winning, they're all pissy. That's why, they're pissy because we say something and they get all mad. We tell the truth and they pile on. You tell the truth, I mean, and it's like, you know, I hadn't got one of these in a long time, you know, get fat jokes. And I'm going, really? And I'm not even responding anymore. I'm just fucking blocking them because you're useless. You're
Yeah, I think
useless to
it,
discuss anymore.
yeah, I was I met a young lady. I was down at the dock here. Nice young lady, and she's from Los Angeles, and she's here, and she started talking to me about her parents who are hardcore Trump-fucks, and she is part of the LGBTQ community. And when we started talking, I know I surprised her. She's going, "Is this an old guy, old white guy talking to me? He looks like my dad, but he's talking like a normal fucking person." So we talked a long time, and uh, she says, thankfully, when she's down here in Savannah, there's no problems. This is a very blue city. It's a great place to be, but other parts of Georgia, you don't know what the fuck you're getting.
It,
Um,
it's weird living in Georgia because normally people don't mess with you. It
yeah,
really people usually don't have a problem collectively. But I live near Atlanta, so Atlanta is a little different cat. Um, and I don't think they are cooperating with ICE, but it's not as crazy as you see. I don't know. I mean, I just try to keep my head down and stay out of the way, but I haven't been really messed with when since the time I've been here,
well, that's
and
good.
it's kind of weird, but I know it's got problems. Um, and it's sad for that one lady because how your parents become MAGA and you're gay, and it's like, how's that working for you?
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
that's sad because
and she said to me, I don't know what to say to him. I don't know how to talk to him. And I said, you know what? You're a young lady. You got a life ahead of you. There's nothing you can say to him. Trust me, I've tried everything. And I'm kind of good at it because I've been doing this every day for 5 fucking years.
yeah,
So I know the facts. If you sat me down with your parents, I guarantee you I could embarrass them, but it won't change their mind. So there
no,
comes a point. I said, here's what you got to do. She says to me, right now, I just go out to the raves and dance and have fun and try to take my mind off the other bullshit. And I said, that's what you got to do. You got to
right,
live your life. You got to enjoy what life you have. You got to enjoy your family and don't get caught up in all this other bullshit because it'll just bury you eventually.
yeah, and the hardest thing for all of us that do this is that it is frustrating, and it's frustrating too. Part of there's two ways it's frustrating for you and I, and it's frustrating for me. Is we see the chaos,
Yeah.
we know it's bad. I have another perspective because I mean I have chaos and fear on top
Yeah.
of that, and so we've seen all that. But the thing about it is that we try to when we talk, we try to give it like just don't give up. Don't just say it's over. But I turn around and I see other creators larger, much larger than either of us, well, especially
Yeah.
than me, just saying it's over. Fuck it. We're a dictatorship. What are you going to do about it? I don't see it getting better.
Yeah. I
Fuck
don't want
it.
to hear that shit.
I mean, and think about it. That's just as bad as MAGA celebrating ICE because you're doing the same thing.
Yeah,
You're
I
literally doing
agree.
the same thing with your indifference or saying it's over. It ain't over. I
If
mean,
you're
we're still more.
afraid, if you're afraid, they won. You gave up.
Yeah.
You gave them the win, and this is why you can't. You've got to. I tell you, I'm at a point right now. I don't go out of my way to talk to Trump fucks, and if I run into somebody, um, I'll just kind of ignore them or whatever. I won't
Right.
get into it because I know there's no point. But I'm at the point now where I'm mad, where
Right.
I will want to embarrass them. I will talk shit to them, and I will do what I can to put them in a bad position. I'm just that angry right now because there isn't enough people to do it. And I'll be honest with you. You mentioned because of who you are, there's a
Uh huh.
little fear. I don't have that fear because I'm an old white guy, but I do feel like I have a responsibility because I'm an old white guy.
Yeah.
There's got to be some old white guys that stand up and say something that's legitimate and the right thing. And because I'm old and white, I'm a little protected. What are they going to do? Fucking deport me? At this point, no. They can't really do anything. I'm one of their people. But when one of their people starts talking shit about them, I feel like, maybe I have a little more power by doing that than saying somebody in the LGBTQ community or somebody of uh, uh, Hispanic descent. Um,
Right.
the people that they are supporting are now talking against them, and that's why I feel kind of an obligation to talk shit about these people
Right.
because I know it's the right thing, and I know I'm in a position of power, so to speak, because of the color of my skin, for however ridiculous that
Yeah.
is.
I mean, it's and what you're dealing with too is the ego on the egotistical. I have never. I mean, people can be egotistical, but Trump takes it to levels I just can't understand.
It's a,
Why
it's a,
you're?
it's pathological,
I mean, why do you need to be loved all the time? If someone disagrees with you, doesn't mean they hate you. They just don't disagree with your point. Try to
right?
convince them, but no, you hate me. These are just little. And whenever now it's to the point, there's got to be people in the White House who are concerned. The reason you're getting leaks, they are concerned about his
Yeah,
decline. You see it. I'm sorry, dude. Time always wins. You can't outrace time. Time's going to catch up with you. You've been lucky so far, and right now you're living the good life. Running the country you way you wanted to the first time. But there's still a lot of stress on you, and you still worry about it. Because the problem with people like you and narcissists, it's like that Twilight Zone episode where this dictator got a mirror, was given a mirror by someone that he had his right hand man had that he had eliminated because he was a threat. He
yeah.
gave him a mirror so he could see his enemies. So everything, everyone was together. So it's just like constantly he's getting rid of these people. And to the point, he's looking for all his enemies. He's just so paranoid. He looks in the mirror and he goes, "Show me," and the face is himself.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's the way it ends because he eliminates the last enemy. Because that's what we're dealing with is the paranoia. Because if you leave well enough alone, you could ride this thing. He literally
Yeah.
could stop ICE right now and ride everything out for the next 2 years.
Yeah. If you would have
Let it
done that in
go.
the beginning, it would have been much
Yeah.
better off. But I tell you what's going to happen because things are going badly. Donald
Mm-hmm.
Trump is going to be behaving badly. People are going to get angry. They're going to get frustrated. They're going to quit. There's going to be more shit leaked out. Don't be surprised if there's an embarrassing video that comes out at some point because people will have had enough and they know that they're going to go down with the ship or they're going to jump off into the lifeboats now. I don't know if that'll do them any good. They might be too far gone, but people are not going to continue to put up with bullshit when Donald Trump continues to do stupid shit. There's going to be more leaks, and there may be some videos, and some videos that Donald Trump does not want out. I tell you what, if you see Donald Trump speaking wildly with a shit stain on his pants and you got video of it, you're going to get paid for that motherfucker.
Yeah,
You send that
but
fucker out and go to some island someplace.
and the thing about it is that, but is it going to make a difference? Because let's be honest, right now, his folk will always make excuses. They always move the goalposts. He can do no wrong because, again, the sad thing about Trumpism is the religious aspect to it.
Yeah,
The religious aspect, the evangelicals who are literally false Christians who have wrapped their religion around him. Um, Jesus is not happy with y'all, whether you like it or not,
yeah.
because you consider Jesus woke. And if I hear that word one more motherfucking time, all right, it's ridiculous. What does that mean? It
Well,
means nothing. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
here's the thing. I'm not under any delusion to think that I can change the minds of the cult. I can't. No matter what video I put out, what document I put out, whatever I put out, it's not going to change their minds. But what it is going to do, because I know the behavior and I know the personality, the more things that come out that embarrass Donald Trump will throw him deeper into that fucking tizzy, that
Yeah,
spiral. And I think maybe that's what we need to do since the people around him are too cowardly to do anything, we need to crash him ourselves. We need to embarrass him at
yeah,
every fucking turn, expose him for everything, because it doesn't matter if the people around him support him or not. It's fucked up in his head. Once his
yeah,
head gets fucked up, it'll go very badly for Donald Trump, and he'll make more mistakes. He'll do stupider things, and he will ultimately crash. That's what we should be focusing on,
yeah.
fucking with Donald Trump's head.
I mean, again, the tariffs, the taco talk will start again.
Yeah,
That's going
exactly.
to happen again. Um, it's going to be kind of tamped down right now because he's doing Texas, but in Texas, he's going to be embarrassed again.
He's
There's
going
no
down there
way.
today.
Is he
He's
going down
going
today?
down. That should be interesting. His little speech down there, blaming
I
it
mean,
on Biden and
Is he going to bring
talking.
paper towels?
I would hope so, because they probably could use paper
I mean,
towels.
the point is that he has no empathy for human beings.
No,
Those people mean nothing to him unless they
no,
worship him.
right.
How I find it hard to believe he's going to comfort the parents of a drowned child.
Yeah.
And it's sad because he doesn't he's isn't built for that. He's going to be down there talking shit about everyone and saying that how he's fixed everything. It's
Well,
simple as that. It'll be about him in the end,
we
always.
know about his empathy because you remember the story about how his brother had a child that was very sick, and we didn't know if they would come back. And, he basically said, you probably just need to let him go and get over it. That's what he said about his
Hmm.
fucking nephew. That's what Donald Trump said. So if you think he cares about Hispanic people or any people in this
No,
country, no, he doesn't. I mean, that's part and parcel to the personality, the narcissistic personality. They don't care about anybody, including the people that support him. He just looks at them as
no.
shills and fucking marks.
Marx, I mean, that's where he makes his money. And so he's going to go down in a situation that demands it was easy in North Carolina because that was just shitting on Joe Biden for the
Yeah,
election.
yeah,
Okay. This is different. You're supposed to be there to bring some kind of comfort to these people, and he's incapable of
yeah.
doing that.
He is
And another
incapable.
example, he never comes when soldiers come home because he doesn't like it. Those of the dead soldiers that have died in action, and the one time he did is one of his first actions as president. He authorized a attack in Nigeria that was should never been done.
Right.
Military people said we shouldn't have done it, and we lost soldiers. And one of the soldiers came back, and he was trying to comfort the widow, I guess, one of the widows, and he told her because he goes he knew what he was getting into.
Yeah.
I mean, that's in his mind. It's okay. He knew what he was getting into, so he's dead. Why you
Right.
don't worry about it. See, to him, it's a transactional thing. He signed up for it. He died.
That's the way
So
the ball
move on.
bounces.
Yeah, it's the way it is. So I don't know what he's going to say. I mean, one person made a comment that Greg Abbott had said, and I don't think he would say said this, that he prays that those who survived prayed harder than those who died. Now I don't. Someone attested that statement to him. I did not look it up. I should
I
have.
don't know if he said that exactly, but he did say
Okay,
something about prayers work and we need to pray hard and stuff. And the insinuation would be that the people who died didn't pray hard enough. That was the
it's ignorant.
insinuation that people got. I don't know if he meant that, but it wouldn't surprise me. These evangelical fucks, they will say crazy stuff. Well, and it's a running joke with me every time um, something bad happens to Trumplefucks, we say, well, God's will. God's will. What are we going
And
to do about it?
the thing about it is that, especially going back years with these evangelicals, um, they the year Northridge quake, I was there.
Yeah,
Huge loss of life. Pat Robinson had the gall to come out on his 700 Club, may he burn in hell, which he is at right now,
yeah,
um, and said the reason God put an earthquake in California is because there are too many gay people in California, in Los
right,
Angeles.
right, right.
So this is not new. This shit is not new. Okay. Um, that's what we're dealing with. I mean, if that's why they're always looking for an angle when there is a mass shooting. That's why I like the congressman who jumped on that old lady, Virginia Fox, I guess, from
Yeah,
Virginia, that one, and was talking about then he goes, yeah, that's fine, but if they die in a school shooting, you don't care. She got upset. You want to strike it for the record? Yeah, dude. Yeah, you didn't like it. You know why you didn't like it? Because it's the fucking truth. It's the fucking truth. You guys aren't pro life. You
no,
just want bodies.
that's the thing. When I was doing something on the Texas floods, um, I got a couple of comments that I thought was interesting. One guy said, "Why are you blaming Trump? He had no idea that how much rain would come." And I said, of course he didn't know how much rain he was going to get because he fired all the people that would have told us. So it's his responsibility. And then they said, I can't believe somebody like you is trying to get views based on the death of children. Oh, really? You're all of a sudden worried about children? Because as far as I'm concerned, the Republicans aren't concerned about children. Once they're born, fuck those kids. That's what they do. And I said,
Yep.
look, I'm not trying to gain clout by talking about dying children. I'm trying to point out that it didn't need to fucking happen if we had somebody competent in the fucking White House.
Yep.
And that needs to be reported. That's information we all need to know.
And the sad thing too is like you could go and say that those people are just a bunch of rich people that voted for Trump and they FA I am not going to do that. I saw someone try to do that, and then
Yeah,
that I no, those people do not deserve that. That was a tragedy that
yeah,
could have most that would not have been prevented, but lessened if
yeah,
there was competent people protecting your children. Remember that, because the thing about that I'm really concerned about is that these people, because of their situations, will accept it
yeah,
and not be angry and just move on. If it was me, if it was you, I'd be angry to the day I die. I'd be suing you. I'd be looking for ways to make your life miserable, to pay for your incompetency that cost me the life of my child. I wanted to make sure that you feel every inch of pain I feel because you fucked up. If my child had died, but you had tried everything, I could accept it. But if my child dies because you fucked up, and now you want to get arrogant on me and say, fuck you, I'm going to make sure that your life's miserable, your career's ruined. If I have to sue you to the day I die, or stand there with a sign in front of your house that your incompetency killed my child.
yeah.
That's what these people miss, is that they don't get mad. They accept it. don't accept that. That's
If
insane.
if these people would have been responsible for the death of my child or my grandchild, I can't say I wouldn't become a vigilante and a contract hitman because I'm 65 years old. If I can keep away from the law a certain amount of time, who fucking cares after that? But there need to be some retribution. And that goes back to what you were saying before. There is a reckoning coming, and it's
Yeah.
going to be terrible for those people. And I'm going to take a lot of joy in their
And
pain.
and the thing about it is they may not be able to sue the federal government, but there's so much incompetency at the county level. Oh, there will be lawsuits.
Yeah.
There will be big time lawsuits being filed against the county, the state for not having the proper backup. You admitted it. We didn't have one because no one wanted it. Oh, really? You didn't put it on the ballot? Okay, then we're going to go. That's the thing. That's the only way you could twist these people. The problem is that a lot of these folk just go, yeah, okay. And then what I'm afraid of too, with Trump showing up today, is that he's going to calm them down because he's going to give them his bullshit. But I think he's going to go in there and fuck that up.
Oh,
It's
he'll
going to
fuck
be
it up.
ugly.
You know, I
And he's
heard
going to
one
say
com
something. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I heard one comment about what happened in Texas, and it reminded me of the many times I've heard this before. Somebody was talking to a representative or something and talking about the people who died and the kids that died. And this is what they said. They said, well, it's too early to talk about what went on with the weather system. We just have to deal with the people who are in pain. Sounds like a fucking shooting to me. We don't want to talk
Yeah.
about the dead people that we're responsible for. We just want to focus on something that's not that, something that you can't hold us responsible for. And that's the problem. These people don't want to be responsible for anything. And as long as people don't hold them responsible, they get a free fucking pass. Here's the
Yeah.
deal. People like you and me, they aren't going to get a free pass. Donald Trump
No.
is responsible for COVID. Donald Trump is responsible for what happened in Texas. Donald Trump will be responsible for everything that's going to be tragic that's going to happen during hurricane season. And I'm
Because
not looking forward to it.
yeah, and because if you, again, well, you're being like whataboutism. Yeah, because when Biden was president, you had a train wreck. It's Biden's fault. No, it
Yeah,
was regulations Trump cut. It's Biden's fault. Buttigieg didn't do anything. You have
right.
weather problems. FEMA. You have this. It was always his fault. Now it's well, they still try to blame him because we're
Yeah,
trying to fix what he messed up, whatever. But now, dude, you're in the seat, and your people cut these things in the budget that they should not have touched. That
right.
includes the FAA. That's going to come to fruition someday,
Yeah,
horrifically, and they're going to have to explain that because oh, by the way, you cut the national NATSB too. How are you going to do that in investigations? I
right.
mean, it's all these things that you depend on for safety were cut because you just thought it was a way to save money. And as I said in the video before, where's the savings? Where's the money? Money
Yeah,
has been
where's my money?
appropriated by money was appropriated by Congress for that. You cannot just cut it.
And it's
That's the
paid
thing. They
for with
give
our
the
ta it's paid for with our taxes. So when do I get my money back? All the
and the exec
savings you did, when do I get it?
yeah, and the executive branch is not supposed to do that. You're supposed to regulate it, but not take the money or fire people because that is appropriated money.
Right,
And then you fired
right.
a bunch of people and then try to hire them back, and a lot of people said, "Go fuck yourself," because they don't want to deal with this. And now, here it is, and they're already ramping it up. They're trying to make it and someone else's fault, the state's fault, the county's fault. What is Trump supposed to do? He's supposed to predict the weather. Well, I guess he's God, isn't he? To you guys, um,
He's not
well
supposed to
now,
predict the weather. The fucking NOAA is National Weather Organization is supposed to do it, and he cut him. So
yeah,
it's on him.
and now it's that's the thing. You got it. You're going to take the fault for this, but they're working for it, and then there'll be another distraction. We'll move on, and it'll be another day in paradise. And as we move through every day in this country, the only thing we have to do is not just lay down, okay? Not say,
No.
eh. That's the thing. A lot of the racism and the stuff we're seeing with ICE is becoming almost metastasized in us because a
Yeah.
lot of people are watching it going, "It's not me. I don't have to worry about it. It's not me." And again, that's what happened to Germany in the 30s. They didn't care. It's
Right.
not me. I don't like those people anyway. So sure, I don't care. Not affecting me. I don't care. Sure.
When
I'm
they
kind of happy. Yeah.
when they overturned Roe v. Wade, I told people whether you are pro-abortion or anti-abortion, this moment in time should be a red flag to you because if they take a one constitutional right away from you, they'll take more. And that's exactly what's fucking
And
happening.
and the thing about ICE, and people keep forgetting, this is not about immigration. It's about due process. They
Yeah.
removed due process, and no one said a goddamn thing about it. No
I
one
can't
fought them in
wait.
court about it. Nothing.
I can't
They
wait till
just
the
accepted.
reckoning comes and the Republicans don't get due process. We just load them on a fucking plane and send them to Russia where they would be happier.
Yeah, well, there's other ways of dealing with that because it's just I mean, I don't know how it's going to come out. There will be, by the way, if I hear one more person said there's going to be no midterm elections, I'm going to hit you again. Shut
Yeah,
up. There'll be
shut up.
midterms. Why would Trump be talking about how to handle midterms? It's not going to be midterms. Why are they worried about midterms? Because there will be midterms. Well, they're going to
Yeah,
manipulate it. Good luck with that.
yeah.
Because we're
It's
not
one
talking
thing
about
to
federal elections now.
Well, yeah, it's one thing about a presidential election, it's one election, but when you've got all these representatives and the Senate and the state legislators, it's not that easy to do. And
Yeah.
Donald Trump is not a smart man. I'm going to wrap things up for the
Yeah.
Rational Boomer podcast. Why don't you remind folks where they can find you again?
Yeah. Hi, guys. One more time. Since TikTok gave me the somewhat death penalty, you can find my TikTok account is KUMQUAT. That's Kumquat 6, the number 6
Is
at
it point
TikTok.
six or six?
It's comes out at point 0.6. Either way,
Okay.
you'll find me. Um,
Okay.
it comes out at point 0.6. They because I made a space so that you can't do that, so they put a dot in there.
Okay.
Um, and so it's still me. If you're watching this, if we can get back to 1,000, I can get back to lives. They just not let me do anything. Again, you still find me at Binder 38 US here on YouTube, and that's usually where I dump some stuff here. Grew a little bit last couple of weeks, but the point being is, um, just it's exhausting. But if you come across a TikTok, people say, just go, "We're doomed." Just move on
Yeah, fuck
because we're
off.
not doomed yet. I mean, Americans don't play like that, and they're
No.
about to find out. They really are. It's coming.
We were
So
doomed after they bombed Pearl Harbor. We were doomed after they bombed the towers in New York. We were doomed when what was going on in Germany. But guess what? We came out the other
yeah,
side. And by the way, you got some homework now for those people listening to this podcast, wherever, Spotify, YouTube, what have you. Uh, if you're on TikTok, go connect up, go follow Kumquat6, Will, and there's going to be a lot of kitty videos.
yeah,
So,
right. And it's a fruit, people.
yeah,
It's a fruit. Look it up.
yeah,
And I did, and yeah, and when you see, you'll know you're at the right spot when you see the avatar, and it's a certain feline,
yeah,
and you'll know what I mean when you see it. And that was on purpose to TikTok. And since we're on YouTube, that's what I meant for that. Okay.
abs- absolutely.
Because I'll tell you one thing, TikTok, that was bullshit, but I'm not going anywhere. Fuck you. Fuck you. Simple as that. That's my statement to you. Because the thing about it is, I can say stuff that's the truth. And until you get rid of the person that's sitting around talking crap or lying to everybody, you have no ethics to stand on. So
Absolutely.
enjoy the feline picture because that's my opinion of you as per my
Absolutely.
cat. All right.
All right. For those of you listening, thank you for taking the time to do that. I hope you have a great day. We will talk to you again tomorrow.